Now that President Trump is back in office, something surprising is happening in the auto industry. Companies like Ford, GM, and Stellantis, who initially opposed President Biden's strict emission rules, are now politely asking President Trump to keep them. Surprised? Well, there's a lot at stake here, and it's not just about politics. In this video, we'll talk about what Biden's emission rules are, why they've unexpectedly become a good thing for car makers, and how President Trump might just undo everything these companies have worked on for the last 4 years. If you're not familiar with President Biden's EPA rules, let me break it down for you. They're actually great for the American people. First, let's talk about the EPA, or the Environmental Protection Agency. They're the government agency responsible for protecting our air, water, and environment. On March 20th, 2024, the EPA announced a game-changing regulation called the Multi-Pollutant Emission Standards. So, what are these rules? In simple terms, they set strict limits on how much pollution cars can produce. This doesn't mean gas-powered cars are banned, but the goal is to encourage automakers to make more electric vehicles and hybrids. Why is that good for Americans? It means cleaner air, healthier communities, and less harm to the environment we all share. And here's where it gets interesting. Because of these very rules, car makers in the US, like Ford, GM, and Stellantis, poured billions of dollars into shifting production toward electric cars and hybrids. This wasn't just about following the law. It was a massive bet on a cleaner, greener future for the auto industry. At first glance, this might seem surprising. After all, some automakers supported Donald Trump during his first term when he weakened emission standards. Back then, fewer regulations seemed like a win for the industry. But things have changed dramatically. Under President Biden, strict EPA rules were introduced to limit tailpipe pollution and push automakers toward electric vehicle production. These rules weren't popular initially, but they came with a big silver lining. They created a level playing field. All manufacturers had to follow the same roadmap, ensuring no one could take shortcuts by sticking solely to cheaper, gas-powered cars. This kind of stability encouraged automakers to pour billions of dollars into EVs, battery plants, and new jobs in states like Ohio, Georgia, and Tennessee. Fast forward to today, and automakers fear that Trump's promise to scrap these rules could wreck the progress they've made. Why? If the rules disappear, companies focused on EVs could lose their competitive edge to those selling cheaper gas cars. This could hurt not only the industry, but also America's position in the global EV race, leaving it trailing behind Europe and China. There's also the issue of planning. Designing a car isn't something automakers can do overnight. The vehicles slated for release in 2028 are already in development, based on the assumption that the current EPA rules will stay intact. A sudden reversal would mean scrapping plans, wasting billions of dollars, and creating chaos in the market. Automakers aren't asking for the rules to be scrapped. Instead, they're seeking modifications, more time for compliance, lower penalties, and tweaks to make the transition smoother. But they need Trump to understand that completely erasing these standards could devastate an industry that employs 1.1 million Americans and is crucial for the US economy. So now, with a mix of careful lobbying and a bit of diplomacy, automakers are urging Trump to keep Biden's emissions rules. It's not just about saving their investments, it's about protecting the future of American manufacturing. So, what's next? President-elect Trump has vowed to end what he calls a mandate for EVs, even though no such mandate exists. If he follows through, it could stall America's EV progress and give an advantage to automakers still producing cheaper gas-powered cars. But the big automakers aren't staying quiet. After years of learning that constant rule changes create chaos, they now realize that sticking to Biden's EPA standards is their best bet. By maintaining these rules, they can stay competitive globally, protect billions of dollars in EV investments, and ensure everyone plays by fair standards. Then there's Tesla. While most automakers push for stability, Elon Musk is going his own way. He's less concerned about emissions rules and more focused on self-driving technology. Musk has even spoken out against EV subsidies, despite Tesla having earned billions from them in the past. Now, let me ask you, what do you think is going to happen when Trump takes over the White House this January? Will the automakers convince him to keep the rules? Can Elon influence him? Or will we see the US slow down in the EV race, risking falling behind global competitors? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.